do think that a yoga retreat supports your nervous system in ways that a regular holiday wouldn't, because you are using specific scientific techniques and technology and the ancient practice. So the fact that you will be actively breathing, actively moving in designed ways that support your heart-lung line or your liver-kidney balance. So it's specifically designed, and I think too, when you look at the yoga retreat as a whole, you're getting specific food, you're getting downtime. It's like you don't have to worry about the details. The details are being supported for you. You just show up on your mat, show up to the community, like all that's taken care of. And I think that level of that takes away the need to plan. Just come along for the ride. Welcome to SAY Show About Yoga. This is the show where we talk about all things yoga and all other things as well. So roll out your mat, take a deep breath, and let's welcome Emma Strembickyj, who is pretty much one of my favourite yoga teachers. I've been going to her classes for many, many years now. I'm going to throw 10 around. Been on yoga retreats with her, and she is a gem.
hello, Emma.
Hi, what an intro. Thank you. I'm really humbled. I'm really am humbled. But I think it has been 10 years.
I think it has.
Yeah.
Yep. I found you, there's so many aha moments, so many. I say this to other yoga teachers where you led a meditation once and I levitated. And when I explain that to other yoga teachers, they're like, were you like on drugs or something? I'm like, that's not a normal thing that happens. And I'm like, well, it is if you get guided with Emma.
Oh, I'm really humbled. Yeah, I do feel very, very honoured that, your body speak. I speak the language back and something magical really happens.
Yeah. So, Emma, what does yoga mean to you? And in particular, coming from a student to a teacher, or not even in particular, just want to weave that through as well. Yeah.
Look, yoga is everything to me, and I say that it's changed over the years. It was definitely a gateway to breath. It was a gateway to living. It was a gateway to understanding myself. It's in everything. I've sort of merged it to a point where it's in everything I do. Like the practice just can't be my mat. The mat taught me how to live off the mat. It's fundamentally awoken me. It's taught me how to love. It's taught me how to show compassion. It's taught me how to deeply see where I'm held. And I guess, from teacher to student to teacher, I'm still a student. I'm on a mat, at least 5 days a week where I do my self-practice, mostly in studios. I have the occasional home one, but I like being around community. But I think that transition of keeping that self-practice has deeply allowed me to embody how I teach, because then I believe, a more fit, like when I'm offering something, I've felt it in my body. So I get a deeper understanding of it. And to teach is an absolute privilege. I mean, to sort of start unpacking your own self and be held by your own container, and then offer that container and align with people that are going through similar things, that trust you on the journey. I mean, what a gift. Like to witness people arrive at one breath and by the end we're breathing as one. Yeah. I just can't think of anything more incredible to experience. Yeah. And to be trusted within that container is phenomenal. So it means to me everything. Yeah. Literally.
I love that. And thank God we're through COVID and we can be together again. Yeah. And perhaps I shouldn't say it on the podcast, but
no, I think it's good. I think it's a great thing to bring up. It's 5 years since it happened. Yeah. And we're back to touching in classes again. It's very rare that someone doesn't want to get touched, but that fear still remains.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Because you give the best assists in the world. Do you think we're back to where we were, or do you think what I'm trying to say is, do you still feel that people don't want to be touched? Or I know a lot of teachers are too scared to touch.
Look, I definitely do it with permission. Sometimes I forget I'm a South American, so we kind of like to touch and kiss everybody, so my apologies. But overall, I just feel like that permission is there. It's very rare that someone will say no, they don't want to be touched. I feel like the crowd that comes and the crew that I've been blessed to have all want to be touched. So I feel like I am where I was pre-COVID, where it doesn't matter where a hand gets touched. And obviously I'm being mindful too that I've got a wipe. I do cleanse my hands between clients, use a special essential oil to also help detoxify the hands. And that way I'm not transmitting from one to another. So I'm conscious about what I'm doing when I'm touching. But I do think we are there. I feel like that's a fundamental part of connection is touch. We can't live without it.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of people use like cards and stuff, to indicate, which I also think adds another bit of a barrier.
Like, I can't do the card thing.
Yeah, because people are like, oh, maybe I should do the same card as everyone else.
I would need my glasses on in class and trying to work out who am I touching, who, what does it say? So no, let's just keep it simple. I put them in a position where we don't shame anyone, and I just say, look, I offer hands-on assist in the class. If you do not wish to be touched, this is your opportunity to place your hands. No offence, some people do really like their own practice. I think I've had one person, if I can remember, that put their hand up and didn't want to be touched.
And if I was in that class, I'd be like, can I have their touches as well?
Yeah. Like, give me the bonus.
Can I? Yeah, I want double touch.
Yeah.
So, on that, lost my train of thought. So I'm just going to go straight to the questions with my glasses. What I wanted to say was you've just come back from what looked like the most amazing, was it 400-hour teacher training in India?
Yeah, so it was 300 hours that I initially did, and you had to do the 300 to be allowed to do the 100. And the only reason I went back so quickly is I did the 300 and something deeply unlocked. The technology and science behind this practice, I mean, they weren't physical asanas that we were doing. It was Kriya breathwork. I mean, we were doing that, but when the crack happened for me, it was during a process of 𝐊𝐫𝐢𝐻 sound. So the seed sound of, say, you know, like Om or the heart chakra. So we had to say this particular little chant inside quietly, and for some reason that activated something inside me in such a way that it unlocked a deep trauma.
Oh.
So it got me to see something that I didn't even, this is where the extraordinary part of yoga is, it slowly starts to unravel you. And I've lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry. Lenny's just walked in. He's the yoga dog, and he's just distracted us.
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is I did the 300 hours, incredible, most profound yoga work training I've ever done. Had I not done that 300 hours, thanks to beautiful Tina Tainui out there, and I did it with my daughter Phoebe, I actually would have given up yoga teaching. So I believe that one, 2 years ago I was ready to hang up. I turned the practice against myself. There was a lot going on, and that was the key to bring me back and love it even more. I can't even think of not doing or feel into not practicing or teaching yoga, but I really was. Had I not have gone to India, I would not have continued teaching. So therefore, whatever happened in that 300 hours, I went back to have 100 hours on my own to do masters, and that was the essential ingredients to even deeper healing and more awakening. So yeah, that wasn't that long ago, and that's been phenomenally transformative. I've had many teacher training. I do at least 50 to 100 hours every year, but that was on another level.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I've got a few questions around that, but can you just explain what Kriya, Himalayan Breathwork, because these are all of the things that you studied while you were there.
Yeah.
Can you explain what they actually are?
So Himalayan breathwork is a specific, like, yoga asana, Iyengar, hatha. It's a system made at Sattva that Anandji's downloaded, and they're particular breathwork. So there's so many of them, specifically designed to cleanse your aura, clear out grief from the lungs, align the spine, tap into the electromagnetic field, shine your electromagnetic field, tune in your eyesight. It's just, there's so many specific recipes with breath that you can use to help cultivate health for your body. And we sort of said it earlier that when we were chatting before, that a healthy body is a body that's breathing well, and most of us do not breathe well at all. We're in we're in constant stress, and these techniques remind us of what we're able to access from the inside out to bring that breath and that oxygen back to every cell of our being. Now, the Kriya is an evolutionary action, so it's short, sharp action. Some of them are slow. We do more passive, but you're accessing what's called the Sushumna Nadi, the energy of the spine with actions of the arms. I just for me, what landed is that you're using the heart-lung line. So when you're accessing your own heart, the primary sort of hub of our soul, our primary connector to each other, if you're regenerating that and balancing it and tapping into, and it's not necessarily tapping in to analyze it in a thought way. It's tapping into something greater, your intelligence of yourself, like the higher version of you. We're just tuning back into it. We're never unplugged from it. So these techniques were around before yoga asana. So before the actual physical movement came around, they were doing these breath techniques, and they were doing these stimulated, arm movements and breath. They are challenging. I'm not going to say they're easy to do, but they allow you to move from the illusion of the monkey mind into that expanded conscious state. So it gets you in quicker than, say, a yoga. I'm going to be really careful saying this because you don't want people writing in.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you do, say, 10 minutes of Kriya and get that heat building and that breath working through your body, it probably would take you about half an hour to 40 minutes in a movement class to get to.
Right.
But I'm conscious of that because someone could easily get in there just as quick. So,
Everyone's different. I was watching you because that was a Kriya breathwork that you did earlier for me. for everyone. And yeah, it looks really intense.
Yeah, so that's cosmic breath. The one that we did was, lifting up, opening up, closing down, cleansing out. And then you breathe. Some techniques are breathing in through nose and out through nose. Some are breathing in through nose, out through mouth. It's just these really specific designed, done repetitively, create like a trance-like state. And because you're always most of the time tuning into third eye center, Samavi Mudra, you're already allowing that access to connect to source energy that we're always plugged into. We just forget. We're like walking around like little dimmers, switching on lights on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. This allows you to create such an intentional awareness of yourself that we're dimming the light less. And when we do, we're accessing it even off the mat. If that makes sense. So your practice becomes your way of living, and how could it not when you realise how you're breathing or how you're tuning into yourself? Yeah, it's quite remarkable.
I was going to ask about, just got to get my questions, bringing that sort of traditional teachings. There's something very amazing about you, Emma, where you honour sort of traditional, you honour traditional teachings, particularly with all of the training that you've done, but you sort of make them accessible in this modern way. Can you talk with me? It's not really a question. Can you talk with me a little bit about that? Because Melbourne has a very, I guess, a modern. A lot of the yoga studios perhaps aren't tapping into a lot of the traditional stuff. Well, there probably is, but I'm not going to those studios, and maybe I should.
Look, I usually end my class with thank you for allowing me to take you through your practice delivered in a modern way, because I'm not doing it traditionally. The thing is, when I learn what I learn and how I learn and the way my brain operates, I take the information in, and as true as I can be in my offering, I'm going to stain it with how it's landed for me and then how I can deliver it. So it's going to be an interpretation of what I've learned. I want it to be accessible. I spent many years, a total of 22 to 25 years, in active addiction, in suffering of the mind. And even though I was practicing yoga and I would go back and use this science that is innately in us, created the healing for me. And when you've lived the deepest suffering that I believed, I know people have gone through their own stories, but when you get close to ending your own life and you just don't want to live, and this thing becomes present and slowly starts to unravel you and you start to live your life again, it's so accessible and so easy. I want it to be offered to everyone because I don't want people in suffering. That's why when I take a class, I feel, we were just talking about this morning, I feel really responsible for everyone that turns up. I want to hold that container. I want you to experience that you on the four corners of your mat have the choice to live a much more joyful life. It's not going to stay joyful all the time, but it doesn't have to be the suffering that this mind can create, because I know what that feels like. So I think I'm really humbled that people tune into that's the offering that comes from that place. So, of course, that's delivered a little bit more modern because, true yoga wasn't that. But thank God that it still gets passed down, which is like, go us.
Yeah. And I think some of there are more traditional yoga studios and teachers, and perhaps for people like me, it wouldn't have been accessible. And that's why when I came to your class, it was just like, aha moments, light bulbs, all sorts of stuff.
And I think too, it's because it becomes I think for me it's been like movement therapy without words, but then words come because obviously I want to deliver something in a practice. And look, there's some great teachers I go to who can remember all the deities and what they're all about. I'd love to be that teacher, but my brain doesn't, Ganesha, of course, that's been one of my deities that I've probably prayed to for a very long time, but I don't, like Lakshmi and Kali, I know parts of the story, but it just doesn't seem to stay in my brain. And so instead of getting frustrated, I just allow what's supposed to flow through. And then when I go to their classes, I get to enjoy what the story is and it's delivered that way. But it's not going to sound authentic coming from me when I can't remember it. I don't know why my brain just won't retain that information. But I guess for me, I've had so much therapy in my yoga movement that feels truer to me to speak to, that this is, a way of life that you can remove yourself, remove those obstacles, hence Ganesha, remove the obstacles that come into self by using the flow and then designing something that supports that.
Going with the flow.
Going with the flow.
Hello.
Literally. Hello.
Now, I have an amazing question for you because that's why I keep referring to this. Oh, yes. So I've got a couple of great questions here. First one is, so you've practiced yoga in some very, very cool places like Peru.
Yes, we did a retreat there
We
together.
did a retreat. And I was talking to you just before about how that retreat for me was life-changing. It was exactly what I needed to do. It was pretty tricky for me to go to that. Like, I had to do a lot of juggling, but I had to go. And I remember where you came up to me in a yoga class and said, I'm going to Peru. And I was like, I have to go to Peru. And even the struggle of making sure I had the money, a single mum, so looking after the kids, like all of that. That added to, I think, the experience. And then I got there and I came away from it a lot more connected, but a lot more courageous. There were so many things. And I just wanted to put that in. It's not really even a question.
Well, I think like Peru, thank you for coming because I knew what it took to come. Those lands were, my family had trekked across that. I didn't find that out till we were in Peru. We were talking about, I couldn't even wear shoes in Peru. Like my feet had to be grounded on the land. Every time I put sneakers on, it was like my feet were burning. I couldn't explain it. And even at Machu Picchu, when the man came and told me off, and luckily I spoke Castellano and I was able to explain and he got it. So he let me walk around barefooted because you're not allowed to walk barefooted. Those lands are so sacred. I kind of feel like Bali had that for me, like up in Ubud. I just felt like, it just was so healing. And this is why I kind of, when you asked me about, actually you asked me, but I'd walked into the bathroom and I saw the poster. So when you're saying about Peru, I looked at the poster and went, oh my God, I have to be on that retreat. I walk outside and I went, oh my God, did you see the retreat about Samoa? You go, yeah, that's my retreat.
And then I was like, can you come with
on
me?
it? Yeah.
You're like, yes.
Yes. Yeah, that was a no-brainer, yes. I feel like that's got the same vibe for me.
I guess you've been on so many different
ones. I have, and I've worked with a lot of different people. Tina and I have got a couple coming up, and what I love about Tina is the Maori and the South American. There's something about our ancestors that talk. We've both done the training, so we bounce and dance off each other beautifully. I've worked with Tommy, Nikki Hanley, lots of brain's gone. But for many years I've done them, and I think where I'm at that point in my life is what is shared. The retreats offer us a grander opening to more and more gets revealed, right? So I learn more as a teacher, more gets revealed as I'm holding space for people because the mirror that comes allows us to see, well, they're unraveling that. Oh, yeah, I see that in me. And then I go away and kind of do my own inventory. So, each time we come to do it, I just want it to be the best it can be without going for the perfectionism because, I'm not a yoga teacher. I've got a bhava that I can write a sequence template, but I'll never write out a full sequence because when I get in, you come in, that might not be what you need. And then I feel like I go against the grain. So whatever there by the grace of God that I've been gifted to read what happens, and I really think that is a gift of God because honestly, even this morning I did something and I said, guys, I've got to listen to what I'm being channeled to do because you need this. I don't. I'm here just as the conduit of the information. I think that's really special. So that's what happens in a retreat. And then you amplify because you're with each other, small container spaces, longer classes. We get to expand on what we get only 60 minutes on a mat to do. So, phenomenal places, phenomenal teachers. Feel very blessed.
I'm so excited. I'm just going to wet my pants. What would you say to someone that wants to, what advice would you give to someone that wants to deepen their practice or even someone who's considering yoga teacher training? So someone who wants to deepen their practice or even begin yoga, please get the concept out of your mind that you're not flexible enough. Yes.
Please.
What is that?
The amount of times I've heard people say, God, I really need to start yoga. I need it for my mental health, but I can't touch my toes. Great. I can't stand up in a handstand either, and I've been practicing yoga for 30 years. Does that make me a shit teacher? You know what I mean? Yeah. So if we all could understand that the shapes are just keys to getting in, like it's just a movement of energy to allow you to deepen and further your awareness of yourself, of what you are before the conditioning, before the noise, before the lies that we told ourselves, and just try it. As for teacher trainings, this is another one that gets asked all the time. Do you recommend this one? Like, I don't even know the people. Go with where your heart tells you to go. You know, when I initially did my very first yoga teacher training, I had gone to do a class with the main teacher there. What I liked about him is he was 21 years sober. So what aligned with me 14 years ago is that I was still in the edge of nearly giving up my addiction issues. The fact that he'd lived 21 years and was a yoga teacher and looked healthy and happy, that I got drawn to that, and it was the right teacher training for me. I loved everyone that I was able to experience with. But I think it's a really personal touch. But go and meet the people that you're going to train with. And my biggest question is, why do you want to do the teacher training? Is it to go on and teach, or is it just to deepen your own practice? I went to deepen my own practice, and 2 weeks in I got asked to teach, and I thought, oh God, maybe I should try it.
Yeah. And doesn't that deepen it even more? Like putting yourself out there. Like I wasn't going to teach.
Yeah.
I just wanted to keep going, digging
Yeah.
deeper, trying to understand more and more.
Yeah.
And that's why I did it. And then afterwards I was like, oh, okay, maybe, because we just started Yacht Club Yoga, which is the funnest place. But it's taught me a lot about me.
Yeah.
And just that little thing of getting out of your head. So when I go and teach a class, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to hate it. Oh God, I'm this, I'm that, and that. And it's like, no, what are you doing? Just don't worry about it. Like, let it, It's some of the beat.
Moving, just be the messenger, not the message of noise. Because, true, we can get in our head about, I can get really rigid because I feel really responsible for the whole class, and then I've got someone doing their own little Circus du Soleil thing in the corner.
Yeah.
And it, does it trigger me? Yes, it does. But then my own experience is like, breathe, let it go. Let it go. Like, that's obviously what that person needs. And then why do I have to control the situation? Like, so I think I'm still human. Yeah. I'm going to get triggered by things. And that's the lesson that we're unraveling together. Just because I'm a yoga teacher does not mean I know better. I've got my shit together by any stretch of the imagination. I've learned a sequence of things. I'm very passionate about what I've learned. I want to offer it to you so you have more peace of mind. But I oscillate too between the thinking and the little bit of noise. But the difference is I won't stay there anymore. The technique is sort of meshed in enough that I would prefer to live in balance. So, surrendering to the noise a little bit more means I don't get as caught up in my own head. I'm not here to be in my head thinking about myself. I did enough of that.
Yeah. And I think looping it around, that is what yoga sort of helps us do, isn't it? Well,
Put a little bit of a space between the constant thinking about yourself to noticing that you're thinking about yourself, and just invite yourself to be. Like, when a couple of years into separating, I separated over 10 years ago to go on this journey. Like, I really knew that was not serving me. It was a big call. My family doesn't separate, all of that sort of stuff. So it was a really big deal to leave. And I had, 3 years in or 4 years in, I had to learn to sit. Like, even though I'd been practicing yoga, and the lady said, it was called Mindful Habits, and she said, no, I don't want you to sit and meditate. I just want you to sit. And I said, do what? She said, I just want you to sit. Okay, but what am I doing in the sitting?
Yeah.
She said, learn to sit. And that was probably the hardest training I'd ever done, because it was sitting. Because then when I got to sit and get quiet, I really got to see what I was thinking about, and then learning more meditation, put the separation between it, more ease came. But it took effort.
So what was that, Em?
It was a mindful habit thing that I did about just learning to be a little bit more centered, but it was still yoga related, but it was just about primarily the being, just sit. 45 minutes every day I had to sit and not meditate, just sit and stare at a plant, and it was kind of like open eye meditation, I guess, because I had to keep recentering myself, and it was just to watch how often, then you dialogue how often you were thinking about what you were thinking about. It was a really interesting discipline that I did over time, and that's I'm usually putting myself on. I've just come off doing the 𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿𝐼 mantra for 4 months. That was extraordinary.
What's that? Tell me what that is.
Just the japa, doing, the japa beads. But there's 5 sacred mantras. So the one I did was the 𝐿𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐿𝐼. That's one I'd always wanted to learn. It's a really powerful one. Like you've got your Gayatri mantras, but this one I really wanted to learn, and we did learn it in India. And it was I just needed real clarity. And this is one that's used for addiction, really powerful one. And not that I was in active addiction. I've been sober for a while now, but I just needed clarity. So I thought I'd do it for 30 days, and I sort of started to notice a shift in 30 days. So I did it for another 30, and then I did it for 4 months until it was just like, okay, we're done now.
So what does that look like? So you talk about
every
the japa
night,
beads.
So
and what are
every
they?
night it's 108 rounds of the beads, and you repeat a mantra. So you get almost into a trance-like state. And even though you might not understand what Sanskrit is, Sanskrit's the potency of the vibration, of how it calibrates when your mind is saying the mantra, how it resonates up through the roof of the mouth, targeting the little nadis and vibrating and filtering through your body. So you get into a trance with the mantra that you're saying, and it instrumentally has an effect on every cell of your being. Like if you think of us as water and vibration, I'm vibrating my water from the inside through sound. So it's like internal sound healing, but done with a specific chant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can we do some of that on the retreat?
We can. Yes. Yeah, we can.
You have studied a few different modalities.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word.
Yeah.
You've just come back from India. I love your yin classes. And so you have done quite a bit of study around
I've done 400
TCM.
hours of yin. So, and I do pride myself for that. It's just, I was on the phone with my yin teacher yesterday.
Yes.
Miss San Sibo from the Sanctuary, Miss San Yoga, because I want her to come to Melbourne, and she will be coming to Melbourne in July at Happy Melon Studios. I want to say this with the utmost love, and not because it can come across as egoic, but I just feel that, there's 25 hours that are taught in the yin practice, and I just don't feel like that's enough. Like, would we teach yoga if we only got 25 hours? We wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't be allowed to teach yoga.
No.
So I feel that that's a little, in some areas, a little modality that's not given enough. I like that word. So for me, my first training of yin with Miss San, who's Paul Grilly's student, who, Paul Grilly and Brennan Kai brought yin to the Western world. She's gone and cut cadavers. She's done anatomy. She's so knowledgeable. I loved when I went and did my training with her because the asana of heat and the strength was out of balance. And so when I did my first yin class with Mark Feely in Williamstown, who he had done Miss San's training the year before, that started to open up this new, it might have been even 8 years ago. The component of yin is extraordinary, where we're giving back to ourselves. But again, cocooning in, going into a shape, allowing the meridian channels, the superhighways of our bodies, 12 meridian channels, 12 organs that work through the body, helping to self-regulate, self-balance, get yourself quiet, start to really see what's going on, because the body never lies. And action is great, strength is good, but it's also good that the balance of nature in itself has to be yin and yang. And I think a lot of us don't do yin. So back to, I taught it, I did it authentically. Then I noticed people would get really uncomfortable in yin, so I was shortening down the time. I was doing the 3 minutes. I was allowing the 3-minute chemical phase change to occur. But then I watered it down, and then my son came a few years ago back to Melbourne, quite a few years ago, just after lockdown, and I did her training, and I went, what am I doing? This is so sacred, this practice. Why are you watering it down? Because people feel uncomfortable. If they feel uncomfortable, then don't come to my class. So I've gone back to teaching it you get five poses in my classes and a 3-minute rebound, literally. Maybe 6 poses on a good class, but about 5. So I hold you in. Yeah. I keep you in, and I think it works because the space, the environment is kept. I practice it myself, so I know what my body's going through. I know what my mind says. Maybe you're experiencing too. I let you hold the container so that you can be the one that really witnesses how transformative that practice is. I think I just did a full loop and
I love it. I love
a ramble.
But I love the way you explain that, because I like yin, and I think it's probably because of the classes that I've been to yours, and I get nervous when people they've been in for 3 minutes, particularly even things like caterpillar and stuff, which actually feels better when you're in a little bit longer. But I worry so much that I shouldn't worry, that it's too hard. So 3 minutes, bang, you're out. And I like the way you've explained that. So will she do a teacher training?
No, she does run teacher trainings, but it'll be is 2 workshops, teachers and student inclusive.
Yep.
Because I've got a lot of students that they only come to my yin classes, and that's also important too. Yin is phenomenal, but make sure you're balancing out with the yang. And circling around, if you're teaching yin, are you practicing yin like you do your yang? Like, it's really important for us yoga teachers to be turning up to yin classes as well. It should be 100%, because then how do you teach with what's current with old information? If you haven't done a yin class for over a month and a half, how are you able to bring that to your current teachings? So I think that's really important. And look, yin was instrumental to me to understand how deeply the body keeps score. You know, my father had died many years ago. I've got full range of motion of my hips, but I started to move my hips. And all my son did was put her hand on my back and said, "How long are you going to keep that in there for?" I was like, "What is she talking about? Like, what did she see?" And I did the training, and it was day 3, and she said, you know, and that's where I learned, if not now, when. And I don't know why that was so pivotal. I didn't want to cry after my father had died, and I hadn't cried at all. I, in fact, escalated how much I was inputting with drugs and alcohol to stop. Every time I felt something come up, I would numb it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that retreat for me was, the training was incredible, a game changer. And I think I teach to that depth because I know what I released.
Yep.
And I cried that, you know, the snot bubble tears, the real ugly cry.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
one
yeah.
where they almost put a towel over your head and they walk away because I just couldn't stop. But that was deep healing. And that's what I think yin has the capacity of doing. Like, yang is phenomenal. We go into the strength. Kriya, asana, breathwork, all that is unraveling. But when you get to sit in it, deeply sit in on it and become the master of, where am I going to go with this? How am I going to offer this? How am I going to self-soothe, self-compassion? I mean, the word trauma is massive at the moment, and so rightfully so. There's a lot of trauma that goes on. I've done a lot of excavating too, but at what point are we going to live in the healing? And I think that when you get that space to sit in it, unravel, breathe, allow, the healing is extraordinary. And then that self-compassion that allows us to live that off the mat.
Yeah. I love that. When are we going to
live in the healing? That's a recent one that's been gifted to me, and it is a gift because we can keep looking.
Yeah.
You know, and yoga isn't about don't keep looking, just be here.
Yes.
The very first sutra before even movement's made, Atam Yoga Asana, just be here.
Yeah.
Just here.
Sitting.
And I think that's been a hard unraveling because who just wants to sit with themselves?
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And yin offers that, I think, on a deeper level, you know. So I'm really passionate about it. I'm looking forward to my son coming in July. I can't recommend her trainings enough.
Okay.
You go into depth with her, and there's lots of lab work, so you get to physically experience as well as, you know. And I think that's too important as a teacher to lab read someone's body. Back to your thing about you saying them staying longer, our body has a range of motion, so there's only so far you're going to go, you know. That's why we ease them in. Come in at 70%. Within 3 minutes, when the body goes through a chemical phase change, you're probably going to be at 80, 90%. Then we stay and marinate. Let's just watch what's going to unravel here. So it's really, really quite extraordinary to watch people through that transition.
When you say lab work, what does she do? Like, is that when she...
So you use your own body. So, you know, we become each other's guinea pigs, so to speak. So I'll get put in a shape. I get to talk to you about it. You know, and then I'll make up something like, I'm only feeling it here when I'm supposed to feel it here. So it gives you the opportunity to go, okay, how can I move this person's body so that they're getting the target area? And I think that's something too, in a lot of yin classes when I attend other teachers, always will learn something. So I'm not going in there to critique. Sometimes the target area isn't specifically said. So, and I think if you're, you know, how often are you in a class going, is everyone feeling it? And hand goes up and go, I have no idea where I'm supposed to feel it.
Yeah.
And when we spend so much time in our head, it is a long journey through the body to go, oh, okay, so that's where I'm supposed to feel it. Okay, I get it. And I think that's where I feel responsible as a teacher to help support someone meet the target area. Maximise why you've turned up here. Let's maximise. Let's get in. Come on.
Let's get the most of it. Let's get our money's worth.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The other thing that I would like to chat about is that I've just lost it because I'm going through menopause.
Oh, I love that for you. I've just started Happy Mammoth. Little plug there for Happy Mammoth.
Hello, Happy Mammoth. I guess I am very, very excited that you're coming on the yoga retreat, Emma. Yeah. I think that this in itself will be its own. Like we do yoga retreats in Samoa. Me and the beautiful Rob, who's under the witness protection program. Because we never put him on the camera. Oh. He puts his arm out sometimes.
Come on, give us an arm.
There we go. He's under the yoga witness protection program. And we're so excited about how this is going to evolve. And just this conversation now, I can see that this is going to be a very different retreat. And I'm very, very excited about doing it with you, doing this retreat with you. You've been one of my favourite teachers because I do come, a lot of what you say resonates with me, and perhaps it's through my own struggles throughout my life. Maybe there's a little bit of alignment there, but I just want to thank you so much.
And thank you so much for asking me. Like I said, that day that we were at the Bendigo Festival and I saw the postcard, my heart just lit up and I just went, wow, I want to be part of that or on that retreat. And sure enough, I walked out. Like, if that's not serendipitous, thank you for asking me. Thank you for trusting me. And the fact that you're going to give back to community there, I just, like the choral, the schools, that's yoga. Yeah. Being of love and service. But thank you to you too for trusting me, because it's one thing to hold space in a container of yoga, but the other thing, how much I learned from my students. Like, I would not be the teacher I am if it wasn't for the repeat customers that keep coming back to trust. I see your body move. I get to understand something about me, and then I share that because I've gone home and done work on it. And then the next time we dance together, more gets revealed. So it's a really incredible love exchange on incredible levels, and I'm so grateful to, number one, be teaching on your retreat, which is incredibly special, and being on this podcast.
Yes, isn't it
say
cute?
Something about yoga. It's phenomenal. And so professional too.
I know, it's very professional.
No idea, guys.
Hello.
Mics, heads, backdrops.
I know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Incredible.
Also, what we're going to do is, down in the bits underneath, is we're going to put all of the links for the Emma Strembickyj world, including your retreats, because you've got one coming up in Japan, which looks amazing.
Yes, so Nikki Hanley's running a retreat in Japan that hopefully it's going to go ahead and I'll be part of.
Yes.
But the week before that, the weekend before, I'm running a retreat with Katie Underwood. So that's Underwood Healing, where we do Kriyas and sound healing. It's a weekend immersed up in the Dandenong, so very humble retreat. Then Japan, then Tina and Tainui and I have a retreat in Bali.
Whoa.
So that'll be primarily Kriya based. That's a 3-hour practice in the morning and 2-hour in the evening. So we really take you in.
Yep.
I have this one. Yeah. And then Tina and I will probably do one in November in Thailand.
Oh, wow.
So this year's a big one for retreats. I'm really excited. And it's nice to take what's on the mat into an environment where we can really focus on transform, not that we're not transforming on a mat, but where you're not distracted by anything other than what shows up in your practice. I mean, how cool is that?
It's so cool. Yeah, you were saying it before. Retreats are great because you do get to just focus on that. You don't have to worry about cooking the dinner or answering the email or all the other bits and bobs.
Yeah,
go deep. So thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, lady.
Listen to say something about yoga.
Ah, yeah. She did the plug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, that's
Breathe in and stay.